This is my Toshiba T4900CT vintage laptop. I purchased this several years ago on eBay. I got it for about $25. And as you can tell from the overall condition of it, this thing is in immaculate shape, especially for its age. Computer was manufactured in approximately 1992, so that was before the days of Windows 95. I have since installed Windows 95 on this machine. It comes with a Intel Pentium 1 processor running at 75 megahertz. It comes with 8 megabytes of onboard RAM, and there's also an expansion slot that you can add up to a 32 meg stick of RAM. It came with 8 megs. I have since upgraded it to 32 megs. In fact, here are all the different upgrade pieces that I have purchased for this laptop. There is an 8 gig solid state hard drive. I use that to replace the 10 gig mechanical hard drive that came in there. There's the 32 megabyte stick of memory. It's actually a memory card. That's the kind of RAM that these machines take. And this machine also has 2 PCMCIA slots. I have upgraded with a SD card reader, so I don't have to mess with the floppy drive because the floppy drive is defective, but I can read off the little micro SD card. And there also, while the internet on it's all but useless because with 40 megs of RAM and a 75 megahertz processor, it's really difficult to browse just about anything, let alone finding a Windows 95 compatible web browser other than like the old Netscape browsers. It just is not really designed for internet use, but anyways, there is a card. I have successfully connected it to the internet. Lastly, this is the battery that's in it. The battery doesn't work. It doesn't hold a charge, but it came with 2 batteries, and I'm thinking about doing a rebuild of the battery pack because what it has in it are what are called 4/3 AA batteries. You can get those for about $3 a piece on eBay. It takes 10 of them. They're nickel metal hydroxide, so I could rebuild that battery pack with pretty much the exact same batteries that are in it. Another upgrade I did was, believe it or not, I was able to find a brand new replacement keyboard for this for about $12. So it's got a nice brand new keyboard, and they're nice clicky keys. It's almost like the old IBM clicky keyboards, but it's a lower profile version of those. Really nice keyboard for typing on. It's quite a shame that you can't get a keyboard like that on a modern laptop today. You'll see also for the mouse pointers, got one of the little finger mouse pointers between the G and H keys, and the mouse buttons are actually down on the front here. They're little rubberized buttons. Real quick look at all the ports and stuff that are on here. There's your power button. There's where the memory card goes into that little slot there. There's the audio jacks. It's got a headphone and a microphone jack. On the back, what we have here is a mouse and keyboard PS2 input. It's got a parallel port. It's got a serial port. It's also got a VGA output, and that's handy because I'm going to be using that here a little later to get some direct video capture from this machine. And there's also some sort of an expansion port. I don't know if that's like for a docking station or if it's some sort of expansion. I really don't know what it is, but whatever it is, I really don't have any use for it. And lastly, these are the 2 card slots where you can add PCMCIA cards. There's a variety of things. I could probably add USB ports to this. I'm not quite sure what Windows 95 has for USB compatibility, but I think I could add USB ports. I could also add a game port to it. I've seen some PCMCIA game port cards that would allow me to connect any 15-pin game port controller. Okay, so let's plug this thing on and fire it up. As you can see down there, there's the LCD display that shows things like disk access and the battery life, which as you can see is not holding a charge. There we go. Now I'm going to transfer over to the direct VGA output here. Okay, here's the BIOS. It's a single screen BIOS, but as you can see there's a surprising number of options in here for as old as this laptop is. You can actually set the LCD to a monochrome monitor if you want. The external monitor, which is the VGA output that you're viewing right now, you can set that to an interlace or a non-interlace mode. I see no reason to set it to interlace because I got it at 640 by 480. Does support 256,000 colors, which I believe is either 16 or 24-bit color. You can set whether you want one monitor, that being the internal LCD, or both of them on simultaneously. Some common port settings, really no need to change any of those. Hard drive mode, there's an enhanced and a normal mode, or standard IDE and enhanced. I keep it in enhanced. I'm not quite sure if it would run slower in standard, which reminds me, the solid state hard drive that I put in here speeds up, it adds a considerable amount of speed. The boot time was cut from about 80 seconds with the old mechanical hard drive down to less than half that. This thing boots up in about 40 seconds with the solid state installed. Some battery saving settings you can set. You can set a password on the BIOS. You can even turn CPU caching on or off. Speaker volume, that's only for the internal speaker, which mainly affects DOS games, since you can't actually change the volume with the Windows volume control. So you can set it to low, medium, or high. For doing external output, I do high because that's close to a line level. If I'm just using the internal laptop speaker, I set it to low because it's pretty loud. You can set your boot order. And that's really about it. So let's go ahead and get out of here and boot this thing up completely. You can see it's doing a memory test. This one's taking longer than normal. Ooh, you know what? Oh, there it goes. That was just a glitch in my VGA capture. Now we're starting up Windows 95. And so as you can see with the solid state hard drive, that booted up fairly quickly. Now my VGA capture, for whatever reason, has different capture modes. I'm going to reset it back to, there we go. That should capture the full thing. Just a couple things on here real quick. I mean, this is just basic Windows 95. I haven't really done much DOS gaming on here. I've got a few games installed. Real quick, I wanted to show you. Here's the F drive. That actually is my SD card. So when I put an SD card in, Windows just detects it as a external hard drive. My main drive I have just partitioned into 3 partitions. I still have the original Windows 95 image on here with some extra stuff that I've since copied in. To install Windows 95 on here, since I didn't have a CD drive, I had to actually use another computer to create a partition on there and then basically trick the laptop into thinking I had a CD installed in it, and I was able to install it off of that. Just real quick, I'll show off a couple of the DOS games that I do have installed on here. One of these is called Avalon. This was a RPG from the late 90s. I don't think it's a very well-known game. Looks like an interesting game. I've gotten a little bit of the way through it. I'll show it off here real quick. I don't even know if I have any games saved in here. Again, I'm going to reset our VGA positioning here. There we go. It's just a top-down RPG. Different towns you can visit. Different areas. Someday I might do a more thorough review of this game, maybe even a full playthrough if I ever feel motivated enough to do that. So let's get out of here. Another game I got on here that will show off the ability to play a little later generation DOS games. I have PGA 486 on here. I'm going to pull that up. This was kind of the precursor to the Tiger Woods golf games. the full motion video pretty well. I'll just do a quick haul here. I actually plan on doing a full playthrough of 18 holes of this. I'd like to get a video posted of that, because this was a pretty neat golf game for its time. You can do mouse control. I'm just using the keyboard. Ooh, slice that one. That should be a pretty good shot. Yeah, there we go. So anyways, that's PGA 486. Not really a whole lot else to show on here. I do have a few other DOS games installed on here. I'm trying to remember where I even... here we go. Buck Rogers and The Adventures of Monkey Island, or Escape from Monkey Island. I think that game I have up and working on here. Let's see. Yep. This game I think I remember playing through a few years ago. I got about halfway through it. This is another game that I think I'm going to sit down and try to beat one of these days. I'm trying to remember how to get out of here. There we go. About the only other thing I'd like to show is actually playing a video clip here. That's in I believe those were in here. Yeah, this was an old old commercial that Microsoft did for a monster truck game that they had out back in the 90s.
If you think you know racing games, you ain't seen nothing yet. Microsoft Monster Truck Madness! Challenge your senses. Choose from 4 exciting types of racing. Tournament! Your ticket gets you the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge. Multiplayer mode allows you to race against your friends via the internet or modem to modem. Microsoft Monster Truck Madness! Get tips from the pros with right-click help and a full multimedia help system. Microsoft Monster Truck Madness! Wild, wild, wild traction action! Let's see that again! Head for the garage! Soup up your truck! Microsoft Monster Truck Madness! Be there!
So yeah, frame rate's a little choppy, but pretty impressive for a computer from 1992. So that's about it. I'm going to shut her down.